do a spoofy intro because I absolutely love most of what AC/DC does. Big fan, big fan. I got another question from somebody on Facebook, Adrian from Kansas. She asked me a two-part question. The first part was, what was it like to move 1 step forward and 10 steps back? And secondly, you mentioned spending money on the homeless. What's that about? Okay, well, to answer your question, I think a lot of people in life do 2 steps forward, 10 steps back a lot. I mean, that's just the human element. I don't think that Earth was designed and life was designed to be just simple. The complexity of what we can do with our minds and what we have created as far as technology and all that crap, I don't know. I don't necessarily, I'm kind of like, get me off this planet, but I always have felt that way. So moving forward and moving back was just the way that it happened. It's just with me, they were monumental blows. It wasn't just like, you know, oh, I just got these bills paid off and now more are coming in. I mean, this was straight up, you're just going to have to read the book and watch the movies. But it was an annihilation. My beacon score at one time was well above 700, and you could see this slow decline of how everything with my financial, you know, estate and everything had just fell apart. And I understood why it was happening. I didn't like it, but I understood why, and it became really significant for me to be able to help people in the future who don't have anything. And I worked on the streets in Seattle for a whole year, day in and day out with Jesus, you know, doing whatever it was that we did with my ministry. And I want you to know, whoever's watching, that I never have taken one single dime from a person, whether it be a tithe or a gift, with respect to my ministry. If you look at ministries across the board, nonprofit orgs across the board, they depend on sponsorships, donations, grants, all that. I did everything out of the back of my van, and I reached over 700 people, I think it was, by the time I left Seattle. And my friend James can attest to a lot of what it was that I did later down the line. Eventually, though, because I kept getting nabbed and grabbed and people were treating me like a person without any rights, I had to draw early on my Social Security, which I have paid into for 18 years. The thing is that the first part of my ministry, I had a lot more money because I was working full time, and so I was able to do some cool things. I rented hotel rooms for people, and all of these things are on my other videos, but there was a lot of really cool stuff that happened by me just going out there and doing it. And everything in the Bible has become really easy for me to understand, in the New Testament at least, because I went out and did it. You have to understand that God asked me, do you want to know what it was like for Jesus Christ to live and die? That means, do you want to know his thoughts? Do you want to experience the emotions? Do you want to carry the frustration? Do you want to be burdened? Will you take it on? Will you do this? Will you do that? And if crucifixion was legal in this country today, I would have been crucified long ago. People were crucified so that they would shut up about God and Jesus. That's what happened. Peter was crucified upside down, you know all that. And happy St. Vincent de Paul Day, by the way. The thing that you have to understand is that I started to ration everything. When most people just make sandwiches and like, oh, I'm getting low on bread, I was counting out my slices of bread, counting out my slices of cheese, you know, and I was fortunate enough to be put on the WIC program. And if I ever become a millionaire with all of my projects, I will pay back every single cent that was doled out to me to help me in my time of need. That is a promise. That is a fact. If things work out the way that I'm hoping that they will, and a couple of people step up and give me a few opportunities to do some things. It's all about, you know, paying it forward and looking behind and saying thank you, and repaying the people that helped you with unconditional terms. So basically, to answer your question about spending money on the homeless, I did a variety of things. I put together kits with soap and shampoo and, you know, all this other stuff. Food baskets, you know, I mean, I learned that from my grandma. My grandma used to have an entire room dedicated to, she would buy gifts on sale and stuff, and she'd store them. She'd like stockpile all this really cool stuff. And she would go, she was a process server and a special investigator, and she sometimes served people documents, and she had such amazing compassion. She could be a bitch from hell, but she had such amazing compassion. She'd come home sometime, storm into the room, and I knew, you know, oh, someone's in need of help, you know, and that's just how she was. She was so graceful in that capacity of her life. And she taught me that, you know. I was a very immature 18-year-old. What 18-year-old isn't immature, you know? I've went out and I've lived a lot of life. I've lived in different places. I've been to New York. I modeled. I lived and worked for Walt Disney World and, you know, Orlando, Florida. It's just that, you know, when all of this happened with God, my life, and I don't want to say was temporarily put on a hiatus because it's been 7 years, but I've invested so much into Jesus. I've invested so much into loving God and being willing to just give anything away if I can, that I try not to be taken advantage of, you know. But what I did for the homeless was what I did for the homeless. It's a lot of it's private. I cared for Vietnam vets and stage AIDS people, prostitutes and their pimps fighting, and I put myself in a lot of danger. But it was worth it, you know. I mean, the cross is there no matter where you go. So anyway, I hope that answers your guys' questions, and hopefully Oprah Winfrey will be interested in making this documentary with me, because the one opportunity I had to do it professionally kind of fell through my fingers. So anyway, God bless you, and remember, wherever you go, there you are.